everyone, my name is Rachel Locke. In this presentation for Module 1, I'll explore extended reality, or XR, and immersive learning. I'll start by defining XR and explaining its key technological affordances and instructional benefits. Then, I'll share a show and tell of my chosen XR program, Google Arts and Culture, focusing on its immersive 3D galleries and high-resolution models. Next, I'll discuss immersive learning and introduce Sarah DeFreitas's four-dimensional framework for designing and evaluating these experiences. I'll conclude with key design considerations and a brief reflection on how XR is transforming teaching and learning. So what is XR and why does it matter? XR, or extended reality, is an umbrella term that includes virtual reality, VR, augmented reality, AR, and mixed reality, MR. These technologies extend how we experience the world by merging digital and physical environments into one continuum of reality. Virtual reality immerses the learner in a fully simulated 3D environment. Augmented reality layers digital elements like text, models, or animations over the real world using a mobile device. Mixed reality allows digital objects to interact with real objects in real time, creating responsive hybrid spaces. Together, these make up the XR spectrum, enabling experiences once limited to field trips, laboratories, or museums. Technological affordances. XR offers several affordances that traditional technologies cannot. Presence and embodiment. Learners feel physically situated within the experience, which supports empathy and deeper engagement. Interactivity and manipulation. Objects can be rotated, explored, and modified, supporting constructivist and experiential learning. Contextual learning. Digital content appears within authentic, real-world contexts. Scalability and equity. Web XR and mobile AR make immersive learning accessible on any device, supporting digital equity. Instructional benefits. From an instructional standpoint, XR promotes active learning. Learners participate rather than observe. Multisensory engagement. Visual, auditory, and kinesthetic inputs enhance retention. Collaboration. Virtual worlds and AR apps enable shared problem-solving and social presence. Personalized learning. Students progress through immersive tasks that adapt to their actions. Ultimately, XR represents a shift from knowledge transmission to experience-based learning, allowing learners to be inside the content rather than merely read about it. XR, or extended reality, is really an umbrella term that brings together virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. Each of these technologies expands how we experience the world by blending digital and physical environments into a single continuum of reality. Virtual reality places us entirely inside a digital space, allowing full immersion in a simulated world. Augmented reality adds digital elements like images, text, or 3D models on top of what we see in the real world through a phone or tablet. Mixed reality takes it a step further by letting digital objects interact with our physical surroundings in real time, creating a kind of responsive, hybrid space where the two worlds meet. What makes XR so powerful is its ability to give learners a true sense of presence. Instead of simply reading about a concept, students can step into it, move around it, and explore it from different perspectives. This interactivity and sense of embodiment deepen understanding and make learning more personal. It also connects content to real-world contexts in ways traditional instruction can't. Students can virtually walk through a museum, manipulate a molecule, or overlay data on their local environment. XR also helps close equity gaps by making these kinds of experiences accessible through WebXR or mobile devices, so learning isn't limited to those with expensive headsets. From an instructional perspective, these immersive tools move education from passive observation to active participation. Students engage their senses, collaborate with peers in shared virtual spaces, and follow personalized pathways based on their own actions and interests. Ultimately, XR transforms learning from something that happens outside of us to something we experience from within, turning knowledge into lived, memorable experience. Exploring Google Arts and Culture. The XR program I chose to highlight is Google Arts and Culture, an online platform that brings world art, museums, and historical sites to life through immersive technology. Let's start with its immersive 3D galleries, also called pocket galleries. These allow users to step inside virtual museum spaces, for example, exploring Vermeer's entire collection or a Kandinsky exhibit from anywhere. Using your phone or VR viewer, You can move through the gallery, zoom in on paintings, and read contextual information as if you were there in person. You can even sit in historic theaters and opera houses with a front row seat to the most famous performances in the world. Next, high-resolution 3D models enable users to inspect artifacts and artworks in unprecedented detail. You can rotate a sculpture, place a dinosaur skeleton in your classroom using AR, or use the art projector to see how a painting would look on your own wall.
Hi, my name's Jonathan Yeo. I'm a painter specialising in portraits, and this is my studio in London. That barber chair to your right is where my subjects usually sit. And actually, I've had a few interesting sitters over the years, some of whom you may notice if you look around the room. To your left on the easel, there's a portrait of Helena Bonham Carter. In front of you, there's a portrait of Cara Delevingne, and in the far right-hand upper corner, there's a portrait of Idris Elba. To your right, you can look down and see my easel and palette. I sit often on that tall chair. My method of work is in some ways very traditional. I basically use oil paints on canvas. I'm simply using the latest technology available to help me create a new kind of image. After importing the 3D scan into the Tilt Brush program, I started making a three-dimensional self-portrait. Tilt Brush allows you to make brush strokes that freeze in space.
Instructional applications. Teachers can embed these XR experiences into lessons to support arts integration, cultural studies, and STEM to STEAM connections. For example, students might explore an AR model of a sculpture, then write a reflection on how scale and context change its meaning. In science, students could study texture and material composition of museum artifacts to connect to chemical properties or conservation. For arts education, students can attend performances in the Sydney Opera House or walk through museums in London. What's powerful about Google Arts and Culture is its accessibility. It's free, web-based, and works on any device, making immersive learning available to students who may not have access to VR headsets or museum trips. In this study, they proposed the four-dimensional framework, which guides the design and evaluation of immersive experiences in virtual worlds and XR contexts. Learner dimension. Who is the learner? What are their skills, needs, and technological capabilities? Design should match learner profiles and provide orientation for those new to immersive tools. Pedagogic dimension. What learning theories inform the experience? Constructivist and situative approaches are especially effective because they emphasize active knowledge construction and social learning. Representation dimension. How is the experience rendered visually and interactively? Consider levels of fidelity, realism, and interactivity. Too much complexity can distract from learning, but too little reduces immersion. Context dimension. Where and why is learning taking place? The context includes physical space, subject area, and available resources. Immersive learning often blends physical and virtual spaces into a hybrid learning environment. Design considerations. When designing XR activities, we should provide orientation and scaffolding so learners aren't overwhelmed by the technology. Use structured yet exploratory tasks, such as guided museum tours with reflection questions. Facilitate collaboration through shared virtual spaces or paired discussion activities. Incorporate reflection and assessment, prompting students to connect the immersive experience to real-world concepts or learning outcomes. Evaluation methods. Evaluation should consider both quantitative and qualitative data. Surveys, performance metrics, observation logs, and learner reflections. De Freitas recommends testing usability, engagement, and learning transfer while acknowledging that technical access and orientation are key barriers. When evaluated using this framework, programs like Google Arts and Culture demonstrate how well-designed XR can merge learner autonomy, high-fidelity visuals, and authentic context to create meaningful learning experiences. In summary, immersive reality is transforming education by shifting learning from information delivery to experience creation. Through technologies like VR, AR, and MR, students can immerse themselves in art, history, and science in ways that are personal, collaborative, and deeply engaging. Google Arts and Culture exemplifies how XR can bring the world's cultural heritage into the classroom, bridging access and equity while empowering students to explore, analyze, and create. Finally, the four-dimensional framework reminds us that effective immersive learning requires intentional design aligning learner needs, pedagogy, representation, and context to create truly transformative educational experiences. Thank you for watching, and I hope this inspires you to explore how XR can expand the boundaries of learning in your own teaching practice.